The quaint town of Ridgewood slumbered, oblivious to the nightmare unfolding within its borders. Nestled in the heart of the countryside, Ridgewood was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and the biggest news was usually about the annual pie-eating contest or the local high school football game. It was a town where doors were left unlocked, and children played freely in the streets until the sun dipped below the horizon. But on this particular night, an unsettling silence blanketed the town. A silence that would soon be shattered by the inexplicable disappearance of one of its own. It was a Friday night, the air thick with the promise of the weekend. The streets were dotted with groups of friends making their way to the local hangouts, laughter and chatter filling the air. The stars twinkled brightly in the clear night sky, casting a serene glow over the town. It was a night like any other, or so it seemed. Jane Doe, a vibrant young woman with a contagious laugh, was last seen leaving her shift at the local diner. She was well liked by everyone who knew her, always ready with a smile and a kind word. Her co-workers waved her off, expecting to see her bright and early the next day, just as they always did. But this night was different. Jane's usual route home, a well-lit path she knew by heart, held no warning, no indication of the darkness that awaited. As she walked, the familiar sights and sounds of her neighborhood surrounded her. The gentle hum of crickets, the distant bark of a dog, the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was a scene of tranquility, a stark contrast to the terror that would soon grip the town. Jane's footsteps echoed softly on the pavement, a rhythmic reminder of her presence. But then, without warning, those footsteps ceased, swallowed by the night. The next morning, a disquieting silence descended upon Jane's usually bustling home. The sun's rays filtered through the windows, casting long shadows across the empty rooms. Her family, accustomed to the sound of her cheerful morning greetings, was met with an eerie stillness. The breakfast table, usually a hub of activity, sat untouched. The absence of her presence was palpable, a void that grew with each passing minute. Her phone went straight to voicemail, her bed untouched. Panic began to set in as her family tried to piece together her last known whereabouts. Calls to friends and coworkers yielded no new information. Jane had simply vanished, leaving behind no clues, no signs of struggle. Her room, usually a reflection of her vibrant personality, now felt like a museum exhibit, frozen in time. Concern morphed into fear as hours bled into an agonizing day, with no sign of Jane. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder with each passing second, a cruel reminder of the time slipping away. Her family, once hopeful for her safe return, now grappled with a growing sense of dread. The day stretched into night, and still, there was no word from Jane. The town, too, began to stir with whispers of her disappearance. The chilling reality began to set in. Jane Doe had vanished without a trace. Missing person posters were hastily printed and distributed, her smiling face now a haunting reminder of her absence. The community rallied together, organizing search parties and vigils, their collective hope a fragile thread in the face of mounting despair. Every corner of the town was scoured, every lead followed, but Jane remained elusive. The disappearance sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community. Ridgewood, a place where everyone felt safe, was now shrouded in fear and uncertainty. Town meetings were held, with residents voicing their concerns and theories. The local police, unaccustomed to dealing with such a case, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the situation. The media descended upon the town, turning Jane's disappearance into a national story. Neighbors exchanged worried glances, their usual friendly banter replaced by hushed whispers. The once lively streets now felt oppressive, every shadow a potential threat. Parents held their children a little tighter, and doors that were once left open were now firmly locked. The sense of community that had defined Ridgewood was now overshadowed by a pervasive sense of fear. How could someone just disappear? Where could she be? These questions haunted the minds of everyone in Ridgewood. Theories and rumors spread like wildfire, each more unsettling than the last. Some believed she had run away, while others feared the worst. The uncertainty was a heavy burden, one that weighed on the hearts of all who knew her. The questions hung heavy in the air, a chilling premonition of the long and arduous journey for answers that lay ahead. The search for Jane Doe was just beginning, and the road to uncovering the truth would be fraught with challenges. But amidst the darkness there remained a glimmer of hope. A hope that one day, Jane would return home and the town of Ridgewood would once again find peace. Time, a cruel tormentor, marched on. Each tick of the clock echoed the growing void left by Jane's disappearance, a void that seemed to expand with every passing second. Days dissolved into weeks, each sunrise a painful reminder of Jane's absence. The once vibrant streets now felt eerily empty, as if the very essence of the town had been drained away. The community, once bustling with life, now moved in a somber rhythm, their hearts heavy with the weight of uncertainty. The police, initially optimistic, found themselves grappling with a case that grew more baffling by the day. Every lead seemed to spiral into a labyrinth of dead ends, and the detectives, despite their relentless efforts, were left with more questions than answers. The pressure mounted, not just from the community, but from within their own ranks, as the urgency to find Jane intensified. Witness testimonies, though plentiful, offered fragmented glimpses into Jane's last known movements. Each account, while valuable, painted a disjointed picture that was difficult to piece together. Some witnesses were certain of what they saw, while others were plagued by doubt, their memories clouded by the passage of time and the shadows of fear. Some recalled seeing her walk alone that night, her familiar red scarf a splash of color in the darkness. That scarf, a symbol of her presence, became a haunting image in the minds of those who saw her. It was as if the red scarf was a beacon, a silent cry for help that went unheard in the stillness of the night. Others mentioned a nondescript car circling the area, its driver hidden in the shadows. The car, an ominous presence, seemed to stalk the streets with a purpose unknown. The driver, shrouded in mystery, became a figure of suspicion, a ghostly silhouette that haunted the investigation. Each detail, a piece of a maddeningly incomplete puzzle, only deepened the mystery. The detectives' board, covered in fragmented clues and scattered pieces, was a testament to their struggle. Every new piece of information seemed to contradict the last, creating a chaotic mosaic that refused to form a coherent picture. The investigation, hampered by dead ends and conflicting accounts, seemed to hit a wall at every turn. Frustration grew as each promising lead dissolved into nothingness, leaving the detectives to start over again and again. The sense of urgency was palpable, but so was the feeling of helplessness, as if they were chasing shadows in a never-ending maze. Jane's family, their hope dwindling with each passing day, clung desperately to the belief that she was still out there, somewhere. They held onto her photo, a symbol of their love and determination, and looked out the window, waiting for a sign, a miracle. Their home, once filled with laughter, now echoed with silence and the unspoken fear of what might have happened to their beloved Jane. The community, though shaken, rallied around them, united in their determination to bring Jane home. Candlelight vigils were held, prayers were whispered, and support poured in from every corner. The town, bound by a shared sense of loss and hope, stood together, their collective strength a beacon of light in the darkness. They refused to give up, believing that somehow they would piece together the puzzle and find Jane. The weight of the unknown pressed heavily on the town, casting a long shadow over their once peaceful lives. Every lead, every potential break in the case, seemed to evaporate upon closer inspection. The nondescript car remained unidentified, its driver a phantom in the night. A potential witness, a transient known to frequent the area, vanished before he could be questioned, leaving behind more questions than answers. The investigation, once brimming with urgency, seemed to be drowning in a sea of speculation and conjecture. Yet, amidst the growing despair, a flicker of hope remained. Detectives, their resolve hardened by the lack of progress, tirelessly pursued every angle, determined to untangle the intricate web surrounding Jane's disappearance. The answer, they believed, lay hidden somewhere within the labyrinth of evidence, waiting to be discovered. Just when the trail seemed to run cold, a faded envelope arrived at the local newspaper office. The envelope, worn and yellowed with age, seemed to carry with it an air of mystery and urgency. It was as if the very paper it was made from held secrets waiting to be unveiled. The courier who delivered it had no information about the sender, adding to the enigma surrounding its arrival. Addressed to the lead detective on Jane's case, its arrival was shrouded in secrecy. The detective, seasoned and skeptical, couldn't help but feel a twinge of hope mixed with apprehension. The envelope bore no return address and the handwriting was unfamiliar, almost as if the sender had gone to great lengths to conceal their identity. Inside, scrawled in hurried handwriting, was a message that sent chills down the spines of everyone who read it. The words were frantic, almost desperate, as if the author had written them in a state of panic. The letter spoke of dark secrets and hidden truths, hinting at a knowledge that only someone deeply involved in the case could possess. The anonymous author claimed to have information about Jane's whereabouts, hinting at a secluded location on the outskirts of town. This location, described in vague yet evocative terms, painted a picture of a place forgotten by time, where shadows lingered and secrets festered. The detective could almost see it in his mind's eye. A place that held the key to unraveling the mystery. Could this be the breakthrough they had been desperately waiting for? The team, weary from months of dead ends and false leads, felt a spark of renewed energy. They gathered around the letter, discussing its implications and planning their next steps. The possibility of finally finding Jane, or at least uncovering new clues, filled them with a cautious optimism. Or was it a cruel hoax, designed to toy with the emotions of a community already reeling from grief and uncertainty? The letter's authenticity was questioned, and the team knew they had to tread carefully. The stakes were high, and the emotional toll on Jane's family and the community had been immense. They couldn't afford to be led astray by false hope. The letter, a beacon of hope in the overwhelming darkness, injected a renewed sense of urgency into the investigation. It was as if the words on the page had breathed new life into their efforts. The detective, with a newfound determination, vowed to follow every lead, no matter how tenuous, to its conclusion. Every word was scrutinized, every detail analyzed, in the hopes of deciphering its cryptic message and unraveling the truth behind Jane's disappearance. The team worked tirelessly, piecing together fragments of information, trying to see the bigger picture. They knew that somewhere within the lines of that letter lay the answers they had been seeking, and they were determined to find them.